So, if anyone was wondering whatever happened to Ellen DeGeneres, apparently she's a big piece of crap and she abused a lot of her workers. She lost everything. She went on a tour, a comedic tour. I don't even know. And this is apparently where everything ended up.
DeGeneres is now being sued for negligence after she allegedly ran a stop sign and T-boned a woman's Tesla. So even after moving across the world, it seems like Ellen, for some reason, is having a hard time avoiding American.
Well, she's having a hard time avoiding anything because she's a piece of crap.
Headlines. Except for this time, she isn't being called out for being a shitty boss. She's being called out for T-boning an innocent woman in her Tesla. Because I guess who needs stop signs when you can just plow into another vehicle? Not very generous if you ask me. But hey, this is very unfortunate for Ellen, as the last few years she's been under scrutiny for a numerous amount of controversies. The main one being that she creates a toxic work culture and that she doesn't really live up to the whole be kind mantra that she preached on for decades on TV.
I'm friends with George Bush. In fact, I'm
just like any YouTuber. You don't know them. You don't know what's going on behind the doors. You don't live with them. You don't know.
Friends with a lot of people who don't share the
same. That
same.
seemed to be like a really big thing between like, I think it was like 2008 to like 2016. A lot of people got, kicked off of YouTube and stuff for, all the grooming and the child stuff, and a lot of TV shows ended up getting a lot of backlash. I mean, what happened to Fox News even? It seemed to be a really big culture for whatever reason.
Beliefs that I have. When I say be kind to one another, I don't mean only the people that think the same way that you do. I mean be kind to everyone.
But before all of that, Ellen was mostly a beloved comedian, talk show host, and maybe more notably,
her TV show went on for over 10 years? It was around for a while.
Dory in Finding Nemo.
Want a piece of me? Yeah. Ooh, I'm scared now. What?
Wait a minute.
Stop following me, okay?
But a lot has changed since the infamous Oscar selfie has been taken, back when Ellen was actually in the good graces of the general public. But I mean, in the years since, Ellen has had such a fall from grace so monumental it should be studied. It's a good lesson in showing up for people. Like maybe if Ellen showed up to, what's her name?
At only one per person. And I just wanted to see how honest my audience was, because it turns out you're very honest. Any of you could have taken more than one thing, and you didn't, except for these ladies right here. So what is your name?
Nancy.
Nancy. Oh, Nancy. Your name?
Anna.
All right, well, Anna got you in big trouble.
That is such a fascinating use of being a show host. Why would you ever want to humiliate an audience member of yours? Like, she literally made her audience member go sit in Ellen jail. Imagine traveling far and you're excited to sit in the audience and get free merch, only to be portrayed as like some damn Daniel of being greedy and dishonest. Are you serious? But unfortunately for Ellen, she just kind of had this like death by 1,000 cuts, because nothing like truly.
Usually when a downfall happens, it just keeps going down and down. It's a spiral of hell, dude.
She's now being sued for negligence after allegedly running a stop sign and T-boning another driver back in 2023. The woman, whose name hasn't been released, claims she stopped at a four-way intersection and made sure there was no other vehicles present before driving forward. That's when DeGeneres allegedly and suddenly, without any warning, collided into her vehicle and T-boned her, causing injury. So I mean, since this was 2023, Ellen probably was rushing to work to scream at some intern for her new Netflix special. We'll get into that later on. But the lawsuit does go on to further accuse Ellen of exhibiting negligent behavior or conduct that fell below the standard of care of a reasonable person. So they're basically saying that Ellen wasn't paying attention to the laws of the road, and her negligence in this case, ignoring a stop sign, caused an accident.
Well, you have to keep in mind, this was back when she had a bunch of money, right? She had those big contracts, and she was, treating her employees like crap because she was the star of the show, right?
Too much public information on the severity of the accident itself or the specifics of this woman's injuries, but the lawsuit does state that she suffered multiple serious personal injuries and damages as a result. Hold up. I'm just making literally the best sugar-free lemonade I've ever done. But if you want. She still likely had to deal with things like missing out on paydays because, she was unable to work and all of the medical expenses required to deal with her injuries, not to mention that on top of all the financial burden of the accident. And the woman also allegedly struggles with loss of enjoyment of life, emotional distress, and anxiety. And I guess all of those things stacked up on top of each other result in this woman suing Ellen for general negligence and an undisclosed amount of compulsory damages. Naturally, People in the comments of these articles called this cash grab and questioned why this woman waited 2 years before finally suing. Honestly, that's a valid question.
I kind of feel the same. Why would you wait 2 years to sue somebody? I mean, you can, sure, but why the hell would you?
But also, to be fair, she could have just assumed that she would recover and be back to work in a couple months, and then things didn't work out as planned. It's hard to really tell when you get such limited information in the lawsuit, but also, is that a telling thing? Like, if she was seriously injured, would they not go into way more detail on how seriously injured she was? I'm just saying, I've been
She probably just got a lawyer that sit down and talk and see if she can get any money, and then the lawyer was like, oh yeah, we can get money. I guarantee that's what it was.
BitBoy was claiming emotional distress and lost pay. Bunch of money thanks to you guys. But I digress. Other people are currently speculating that the reason it took so long for her to file a lawsuit is because she may have been trying to settle it privately, and after many failed attempts, she's now gone public. See, that kind of makes a little bit more sense.
That
but
does
if you
make
have
more
been keeping
sense.
up with me
That
for a
makes
while,
a lot more sense.
you would remember that back in 2020, we covered her original first downfall. Actually, I made 2 separate videos on this topic. The first one was covering some of her scandals back then, and then the second one was the work environment. Because there was a ton of things that Ellen had done to piss off the majority of people during COVID, like cut a bunch of shows' employees' pay and compare her being quarantined in her beautiful home to being in jail.
One
That's
thing
crazy.
that I've learned from being in quarantine is that people, this is like being in jail, is what it is. It's mostly.
I remember so many of those online stars coming out and being like, "Oh, COVID sucks. Being quarantine's terrible." And it's like, bro, you got a big house. You're not bumping into people. You could probably go in one area of that house and never see anybody. But how big that mansion is? Shut up. What you crying about, man? You can have your groceries delivered to you. You pretty much already do that. Stop complaining, you freaking losers.
Because I've been wearing the same clothes for 10 days and everyone in here is gay.
It just kind of came across as out of touch when she was living here. But also, it wasn't a pandemic.
She was.
This was
Well, I bet she's complaining. She's complaining real big now, I bet.
everyone's first pandemic, and most were scared and feeling cooped up for raising complaints about working conditions. While no specific allegations were made against Degenerate, one former employee alleged producers hid the toxic workplace complaints from the host. So I guess you could claim that you didn't know, but the show is literally named after you, and the whole show goes on about being super generous. It's just a massive juxtaposition. Then, after a couple failed apologies and attempts to sweep the article and growing rumors under the rug, the Ellen DeGeneres show ended up ending in July of 2022.
Good.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show. And then there was an investigation. I learned
and then they found that you're a piece of crap. Oh, my camera died. That's nice.
things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility.
And you know what's crazy? Is you're not sorry. You're not sorry that you did the things you did. You're sorry you got caught, but that's okay. Because your life's about to get a lot more miserable.
For what happens at my show. This
approval. And in this special, she tried and she failed to laugh off the accusations about her workplace culture and wiggle her way back into people's good books. And she did actually respond to the rumors. And Ellen's version of the events includes her being kicked out of show business for being mean. She says on her own Netflix special. Okay, the top comment on the trailer also says that people think the audience are actors.
Ben's cat? LFS.
All right, well, let me catch up on what's been going on with me since you saw me last. I decided to take up gardening. I got chickens.
People like this, they don't ever apologize because they're actually sorry. They're apologizing because they want to get back into money. They don't care about you. They don't care about how you feel. They just want money.
Let me see what else I can tell you about that's been going on. Oh, yeah, I got kicked out of show business. The Be Kind girl wasn't kind. That was the headline. Here's the problem. I'm a comedian who got a talk show, and I ended the show every day by saying, be kind to one another. Had I ended my show by saying, go f*** yourselves,
People would have been pleasantly surprised to find out I'm kind.
Now, based on the trailer alone, I don't think anyone expected to be blown away by this, but her casual attitude about the serious allegations obviously rubbed
piece of human garbo.
a ton of people the wrong way.
Garbage.
And public opinion of Ellen at this point was still not the best. And it kind of seemed like any hope for a return to the spotlight was over for her at this point. And after the results of the 2024 US election, Ellen and her wife, Portia, she stuck to her word and actually packed up and moved to the United Kingdom.
I've kind of tuned into it every now and then. I mean, it was kind of like it just kind of played sometimes, you know.
Whether you agree with her politically or not, she stuck to her guns. She is
True to her word.
She and Portia de Rossi have left the country.
Days after the election, they bailed. They went to England. Now, they had a house that they
already had a house in
They
it.
had a house, but that didn't mean they were going to live there. It's
Right.
in the
Dude,
Cotswolds.
Keanu Reeves
And
would be awesome
they made
to
a
meet in
decision,
person.
as our source put it, who is very connected to them, to get the hell out. And they did it days after the election. They
Passed. That was until now, because the California legal system has just come knocking at her door. It's
I bet.
unclear if any more details will be released anytime soon.
I mean,
but I'd
it's gonna be
surprised if
really
Ellen
hard
didn't want to
to
settle this
sue
privately and avoid
Ellen.
having to return
If she's in the UK, I mean, I'm sure that some of the laws will transfer over, but I don't know. That's got to be such a headache to deal with. That has to be such a headache to deal with, you know?